Tim, ready for you to kick off, then we'll go to Adam Oxley, and we'll go after that Damien, then the Moose, then we'll do the hands up. Ready when you are, Tim?
Okay.
Hi, Tim.
Hello. Chris, it's pretty relentless at the moment, but performance-wise, are you happy with the shape that your side have been showing in the last few games, taking it into this Wolves one?
Yeah, definitely. It's certainly, well, anything would have been an improvement on what we produced at Old Trafford a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, signs against Arsenal, took it right on the step against Spurs. Touch disappointed in terms of opportunities and a little bit of quality in the final third against Burnley, and maybe we would have won a tight game. But 4 points in those two games is a good effort, and we'll need to be at our very best against Wolverhampton Wanderers on Wednesday night.
What have you made of Wolves, not just this season, but last as well? And do you think they can get into the Champions League places this season?
Well, they've put themselves in a brilliant position, haven't they? And saw a lot of them in the Championship. They were, for me, always a Premier League club in waiting, with what happened off the pitch as well as what happened on the pitch. But they still have to produce the performances, and they did, and won the division pretty comfortably, and showed their class and quality going up in their first season. What they produced, added to the squad again, and not surprised that they're up there. Obviously came up in the last couple of years and done very, very well. A really powerful football club at the moment in the Premier League.
Back-to-back home games against teams above you. Is this a week to really relish an attack from your point of view and from the players' point of view? Yeah,
we're okay. There's a few tired bodies. I've got to pick the right team. Obviously, as I've said, it always was going to suit the more powerful of clubs in terms of squad sizes, and it has stretched us quite a lot with the energy that we've put into the game. There's a few tired bodies there on Sunday afternoon, and obviously we can't rotate it too much because I have to make sure that we still have that fluency and rhythm to our play, which I've seen against Spurs and at times against Burnley. But it's something that we're looking forward to. Every game in the Premier League is an event, as I've said, and we really enjoy it. And to play Wolves at this stage of the season and the position that they're in is a great challenge for us.
We've seen some changes since the restart with the extra substitutions and the drinks break. What have you made of that? Do you think some clubs are using it from a tactical point of view, and does it favour the top teams with these extra subs and just knocking it on? Would you like to see it revert back to normal next season?
100%. 100%. Yeah. For what? Why would it suit the likes of Burnley? Why would it suit the likes of Sheffield United or Aston Villa or Norwich or any of them teams? Of course it wouldn't. Of course it's going to always suit the top clubs with a big array of superstars and talent and the best academies. Of course it is. Can't 100% understand why it gets changed mid-season. And from the drinks point of view, I've not seen this in a World Cup in the middle of June and July. And if it is, then they've done it off a suggestion, and I certainly didn't need a drinks break on Sunday afternoon at Burnley, apart from having another Bovril, and that would have been my second Bovril that I've had in July on record in the history of having Bovrils. Usually, it's November, December, January that the old favourite comes out with a load of pepper in it. But of course it is. There's not, if you have a look, there's not many people having a drink or they're having a little sip, but there's quite a lot of huddling going on and togetherness going on, and managers and coaches getting into the players. So, like I said, game's changed. It's not 2 halves now; it's 4 quarters, and there's a timeout in between. So, that's another change we have to get used to.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Tim.
Moose, do you want to kick in now?
Hiya.
The East End boys, do they have Bovril, Moose?
They do have Bovril, yeah.
Yeah.
Not as much as you guys up north, though, to be fair.
Well, we need it, don't we?
So why is Bovril your drink of choice then?
Oh, have you not had one? stick a load of black pepper in it, and it just warms you up.
Yeah.
Warms you up, gives you a nice little glow. Sometimes they do it too hot and it burns your lip and burns your tongue like for a little bit, but that's sometimes the price you have to pay to just get a little bit of warmth inside you.
I mean, I totally agree on the drinks break, but I mean, I've not seen any manager yet not get off their bench and give a few tactical team talks, including you.
Well, we were told against Arsenal that we weren't allowed to before the game, and then I saw Mikel gather the troops and started delivering a team talk. I thought, that rule's gone straight out the window. That directive that we had from the Premier League went straight out the window. So we started talking. But when they finished and we got back on to playing the game, we got started again. Yeah, it's obvious to everybody what's going off. I don't think I'm stating anything that anybody else has not seen or understands.
Do you think we might actually see it being kept? Because some people are saying it's it's a good chance to put an ad break in there and even do like an American sport. Yeah,
let's go down that road. Let's go down that road. That's what we're all about. Let's not worry about this beautiful game that's been with us for a lot of years and stood the test of time. I understand a little bit of change now and again is good. Back pass rule was brilliant for everybody. Other little bits of rule changes have been good. I'm not sure about a couple of the rule changes this year has done the game a big boost and improved it. Again, I see ourselves on the receiving end of one on Sunday. One penalty we've had, Ian. One penalty. I think both Manchester clubs together have had 22 penalties. I know they might be in the opposition box a little bit more than us. I understand that. So that argument, I get that people might say that. But to get one penalty this season and the one that obviously we should have got on Sunday. I don't know if you saw the reaction of Jay Rodriguez and Eric Peters. Guilty, by the way. Guilty. Look round. And I've got, as I said, always enormous amount of respect for Sean and their players. They do brilliant every year. Great, but there it is, one penalty. So, but these are things, as I said, we have to deal with.
Two quick ones to finish with. First of all, Nuno, done a great job, as you've already said. You get on well with him?
Yeah, Magic. Yeah, he's a good guy. Really good guy. Always have a beer afterwards. Got a lot of respect for him. Team plays fabulous football. They're resilient. He doesn't moan as much as me about decisions. He's a little bit more calm. I think that's his background. He's not an edgy northerner like I am. He's nice and chilled. So maybe I can take some tips off him to just chill out a little bit. But he's a real good guy. He's got some fabulous players. You look at the players that he's got. We get talked about that we've got, mostly British-based players because they're the players I know. Nuno has got mainly Portuguese players because they're the players that he knows well, and he's got some fabulous players there. So it's going to be a hell of a challenge for us on Wednesday night, and we've had some really good games with them. We had a game down here in the year that we were in the Championship that we managed to win, a tight game. We got absolutely thumped at their place when we never laid a glove on them, and they were outstanding. And we were involved in a tight game this year at Molineux. So hopefully we won't get thumped again. We can produce a performance like we have done in the last two games and really make it difficult for them.
Last one, Tim Sherwood. This is more of a dig at the Spurs players, I have to say. After the win over Spurs, Tim Sherwood said to us on TalkSport that none of your players are getting to Spurs team, but it's not about a team, it's about the individual players in terms of your players work so hard and give everything. Do you take that this season as being read across the board? Sometimes if you looked at a particular team, not all of your players will get into that team, but because they work so hard, they will probably now be considered for that team.
Well, if a manager wants an hard-working player, maybe he should look at some of our players, but I hope they don't look too hard. We've got some talented boys. But I think that comes first for me, but I look at all the I look at Liverpool side who have obviously been outstanding. I think we all we all want to marry up talent with being competitive and being hardworking. I think somebody said that we could buy 36 Ben Osbornes for one of their players. So that's a different level that maybe they are to us in terms of spending power. But we just try and get the maximum out of our players, as I'm sure that every manager in the country is trying to do with his players week in, week out.
Brilliant. Good luck.
Cheers, Ian. Tom,
See you
mate.
soon.
Adam?
All right, Adam.
Hello. Yep.
Hiya, Adam.
Yeah. Hiya, Chris. Hiya. Are you going with the same squad as Burnley then? From what you've been saying.
Unless somebody's just opened up the transfer window and put £100 million into our back pocket, then yeah, mate. It's there's not many coming in. As I said last week, there's John Lundstrom, Flecky, and Luke Freeman are out for a couple of weeks, so they're not available. So we go with what we've got and do our best.
Will you have to rotate a little bit this week? Bearing in mind, you said to me at the weekend just how much it had taken out of some of the players playing those games in such short a time with the fixture schedule as it is.
Yeah, possibility. Got to pick the right side. Always try to do that. Sometimes it's not always easy for people to understand. But obviously, I see the players close up and personal, and how they are, and how they're feeling, and what amount of effort they put in, and they'll all want to go again. It's just me picking the right side, and obviously we are limited with those three boys being out and our squad being severely stretched.
Will you have to manage the minutes of Jack O'Connell, or is it going to be a tough decision now who gets the nod at the back against Wolves this week? Yeah,
I mean, there's always tough decisions, and that's what I thrive on. I love those tough decisions. I've got no issue in making them. I don't want an easy way out. I want Jack Robinson to play well. I want Jack O'Connell to be fit and do 90 minutes. I want Fleck back. I want Freeman back. I want Lundstrom back. I want everybody absolutely firing on all cylinders, and me having the most toughest decisions to make that I've ever made. And when I'm in that situation, that pleases me the most. I'm not comfortable in having to make comfortable decisions and easy decisions, tough decisions, and that we have to be made, and people have got to accept that. But at the moment, as I said, we're a bit stretched, but we'll get on with it, and we'll produce performances like we have done over the last week, from Sunday to Thursday to Sunday. In a lot of the aspects of the games, in all three games, it's really pleased me. The attitude of the players has been outstanding. The competitive nature from the big reverse at Manchester United has come back into us. He had to. There's little bits. I thought all-round performance against Spurs was great. I thought Sunday, in periods we dominated without finding that last little bit that takes away the game from Burnley. But it was a tight game. So 4 points. The Arsenal game we've talked about. So yeah, there's signs. We have to keep consistent with that approach, especially with the week that we've got coming up, with Wolves coming to Bramall Lane on Wednesday and Chelsea coming on Saturday.
Jack Rodwell got 15 minutes at Turf Moor at the weekend. You've been pleased with what you've seen from him since he joined the club? Yeah,
it's been difficult for Jack because Basham's been up there, but Bash needs to recognise that he needs to keep his performances at a top draw, because we need that competition, and Jack's been pushing. He plays a sitting midfield player, can play right of a three. So his performances around the place have been good. So there's an opportunity for him to play, and he's in my thought process as well. So which they all are. They all have to be in the mix to play, and Jack's been good.
Has Jack Rodwell got a longer term future at the club, or is that something you're still thinking about?
Just trying to think about getting through this period. There's always medium and long term situations, but I'm not going to come out and speak to yourselves about about the retainer list or who we're offering contracts to or who we're not. I think, as you can respect, all our efforts are going from Sunday afternoon at Burnley, getting 47 points to 48 points, to taking that total to somewhere else. Ideally 51, 49 would be great, but I don't want to be stuck on 48 points, and the players don't. So if we put a performance in and we concentrate on what's ahead of us because of the schedule that is, I think that's the biggest situation that I need to deal with.
We talked a little bit about John Egan scoring at the weekend, his first of the season. You thought he should have had 10 already. How do you get your defenders scoring a little bit more? Is it about individual responsibility, or is there something as a team that you can do a little differently?
No, we do the maximum as a team in terms of the setups of the set plays. The delivery is good. It's just technique and quality now, and having the balls to, when you're in a position of pressure, to stick the ball in the back of the net. John's technically a good player, and I think you'll recognise that, he should be scoring more. And whether it's him, Jack or Bash, they've all been in good positions, and now that is down to individual quality, being nice and calm, taking the right technique, picking the right run, timing of everything. It all comes with that. But there's enough work that goes on in the training ground to put us in those positions. We put them in those positions. Now they've got to come up with the goods. So whether it's practice on the training ground, which they do, they're involved in finishing sessions, or just sometimes, having the clinical aspect of their game to put the final touch to a set piece. I've always talked about set pieces as quite important, because to get to the position that we get to takes something, and then you're not just in those positions of getting 6 or 7 corners by chance. And then when you do, there has to be organisation, there has to be thought in terms of the runs that they make and what we see in different oppositions to capitalise on that. And, we have had down between the 3 centre halves, from a statistical point of view, where we want to be. We want those boys to be scoring between 8 and 10 between them. And I don't think that's a big ask. So that's something that we definitely need to improve on, and the boys need to improve on next year.
Were you surprised to see Wolves lose at home to Arsenal at the weekend, or is just that a show of how far they've come, really?
I'm not surprised at any. I'm surprised. I'm not surprised at any result in the Premier League. It's that's the nature of the division. For us to get our results, we've surprised a load of people. But I'm not surprised because of our performances of what we've put in. Regarding Wolves' situation, they've done brilliantly. They're in a position of what they're on 52 points is a great return from a really powerful football club. They've got a pack full of international players, some big money players there that are coveted by other teams. So it's another huge challenge ahead of us. But Arsenal aren't bad as well. They're a decent side. An historic football club in this country. So surprised Arsenal have won at Wolves. How far Wolves have come, it's it can be debated both ways.
What's impressed you most about Wolves this season? Because it's easy to forget it's their second season back in the Premier League, obviously finishing 7th last season.
I don't go along as if they're a newly promoted side, because they're a Premier League club in the Championship. I don't know if you recognise all the players that they had in their group when they were in the Championship, but they had to win the Championship, and I've taken nothing away from them. They still got to go and win games. The attitude has to be right. The attitude of the manager is brilliant. He gets a lot out of them. But the players that they have the ability to attract is very, very impressive. Still got to go and get the results. Done fantastically well in the Europa League. Still got to go and get the results. So I'm taking nothing away, but it's a combination of a lot of things that allows Nuno to influence and affect the team. And if you look through the team, they've got some outstanding players: Jimenez, Jota, Traore. The boys in midfield: Neves, Moutinho, Dendonka's an international volley. Conor Cody, we know a lot about, the goalkeeper, right the way through. You know, it's a team packed full of players, and I think that they would be expected to go just as good this year as what they've done last year, and not surprised that they have. The combination of really good players and the combination of a fantastic manager who asks everything from them, organisation, work ethic of the team, fitness levels of the team, and the bit of quality at the end that decides, that takes defeats to draws and draws to wins in tight games.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate your time.
Cheers, Adam.
Hi, Chris. Just a quick one from me. Yeah, good, thanks.
Right.
Henderson's in the Bovril would be my recommendation, by the way.
It's what?
Splash of Henderson's in the Bovril.
In there? Yeah, I've never thought about that.
Yeah, works well.
Anyway,
just one quick one from me. 4 points from 6, you said at the top, is a good return. Why is it so much improved in recent weeks compared to what I suppose you describe as a sluggish start after your return?
Yeah, I think you look at the games in isolation, Damon, and then you look at it and going, you're expecting what happened at Villa Park, a point away from home is decent in the Premier League. You know, second half performance, mitigating circumstances, individual errors, and a no-show at Old Trafford. And from then on, decent against Arsenal, outstanding against Tottenham, and quite good at Burnley. So, you know, we're gathering momentum and gathering pace. We've got a few players back, getting back into the rhythm of how we play. Intensity levels have gone up. Whether that's just because we've got back into our stride and our rhythm, but we need to maintain those.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Chris, now that you're a few games in, what has this restarted season been like from a manager's perspective? What kind of a challenge has it been for a football manager?
Yeah, us getting used to a lot of things that have been different to restart. I think it's been difficult for everybody to get their head round what the occasions that have been like, getting back up to speed. You know, you've seen the games, the intensity of the games. I think they start to picking up a little bit now, and still you have the odd games now. The schedule has been intense. You know, we talked about the schedule in the Championship, but I've always said that that sort of mirrors the Saturday to Saturday intensity of the Premier League. But now we've got the intensity of the Championship in terms of games every three. I think our games every three and a half days. To the intensity, the amount that people run, the quality that you're up against. So, you know, different challenges, squad sizes, obviously, different injuries that we've. I wouldn't put that down to all of those injuries down to the schedule. There's maybe one in there that we've looked back on, maybe we can look at, but we've been a little bit unfortunate that the injuries have come at the same time. And there've been contact injuries which you can't really do anything about. But I think, you know, the scheduling, the less work that you do on the training ground, Rob, as well. You know, we are a training ground team. We're not just a small-sided game on a Thursday, five-a-side on a Friday, set pieces and off you go. You know, we work as we have to, as you can imagine, with the players that we've got. We work a lot on ourselves, on our shape, on our defensive shape, on our attacking shape, on every aspect right the way through. So, obviously, that's been taken away from us a little bit, the ability to work on the training ground. But just overcoming all those things and trying to produce performances. And as I said, be delighted with the last week in terms of the performances and a couple of results in there.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Rob.